How's it going, everyone? The Trout91 here for a Friday commentary. In the last video that I did, I asked you guys to, drop some things that you might want to hear me talk about in a Friday commentary, because there's lots of stuff I could talk about, but not necessarily having the idea of what to talk about on a particular day, unless I have a specific topic to talk about. But some of you left some things to talk about in the comments, and I am deciding to pick one of these out. So, Jelly Sucks, thank you very much for your comment. He said, could you do a commentary about finding motivation to do things and what you should prioritize in life? Now, I actually kind of did a commentary, I think about 2 years ago now, called Motivation. I'll put a link to it in the description. It's the one where I was vlogging in my car. I've done one on my main channel before, but this was on my second channel. It was about motivation. I tried to watch it back, but I don't know, I just couldn't be bothered to watch it all the way back. But if you want to watch it, fair enough, go watch that. I'll leave the link in the description and such. But what I'm focusing on for this one is prioritizing things and what takes priority in life. Now, this is actually kind of a good topic because in the past few months, when I wasn't having a very good year last year, the last few months were particularly bad, and it came down to priorities, really. A lot of my hardship was down to not prioritizing the right things and the right people, I would say, in a lot of situations. So you have to be careful about what you're prioritizing. And for me, it's prioritizing the things that matter. These things, you need to prioritize the things in your life that are going to get you places, are going to push you further in life, whether it's career-wise, whether it's hobby-wise, personal enjoyment, friends, family, etc. The things that are going to put you in the driving seat and in control of your life is very, very important. It's something that I necessarily didn't take into the fullest extent. I kind of prioritized the things that I wanted to do rather than the things I should have been doing. So you have to remember, it's kind of a vicious cycle, because you need to prioritize the things that matter to you, but the things that matter to you might be the things that you enjoy. And those things that you enjoy are the things you should be prioritizing. Your happiness is something you should put a priority on. However, having said that, just because it makes you happy doesn't mean it's going to be the best thing to prioritize. It doesn't mean it's going to get you very far in your life. So you have to kind of get the right balance of, doing things that make you happy, are getting you through the days, and things you're enjoying, but making sure that they're doing it in a positive space. I know a lot of people kind of get sucked into the world of, gaming, and it might not necessarily be the most positive way to move your life forward. And I think that's a very fair comment and assessment when I look at the internet these days. Everyone seems to think that they can make a quick buck from playing games because they think they're God's gift to the gaming world. And, for myself, I got really fortunate that I invested so much time and money into gaming, and it paid off for me in the end. There was no intention or plan of it paying off. I made sure I had a backup plan, which is why I was at uni. I went to uni to get a degree in nutrition and exercise so I could have a backup plan. That was my priority. I never expected any of this gaming stuff to pan out. So I always made sure that I was doing things to prioritize and my life and my happiness and my future. And my future was always important to me. I just got really lucky that this stuff started panning out, and I kind of stopped focusing so much on my degree, and it worked out in my favor. So you have to be careful about how you're prioritizing things. I know it can be demotivating to think about your future, especially if you're at a young age. You're just like, oh, I don't really care, I'll just see what happens when it pans out. And when I was your age, well, I don't know how old you are if you're listening to this, but when I was probably like in my 16 to 18 years, where I was a bit like, oh, I don't really mind what happens with my life, I'm just kind of, wading through life, things will work out. Fortunately, in some ways they did, but, at the time I was like, oh, I'll get to the uni I want to, which was, I wanted to go to Southampton originally, and I didn't end up getting the grades, even though I did study pretty hard. But then my backup uni was really pants, so I didn't quite take into consideration these things. So when there are important things in your life, you really do need to focus on them. Don't neglect your friends and your family as well. They're always going to support you and be there for you, which is great. But eventually, if you fob them off enough times, or you're not particularly caring of them, they will eventually, stop waiting around for you. I've got some good friends and family, and fortunately enough, when I was, doing my own things and focusing on my stuff, and not necessarily giving them the time that I wanted to dedicate to them, they were still around and they accepted me with open arms, and they were the people that I should have been focusing on and prioritizing, instead of people who, you know, I might have thought were my friends or thought were very good people, but in retrospect were not great people. So I think what I'm trying to say for you on this Friday, and give you the thoughts over the weekend, is when you're doing something and you've got to make a choice between two things or multiple things, just think how that is going to impact your future. Is it going to push you in the directions you want to go if it's a big decision? And that's where you need to start prioritizing. How is that going to benefit your future? If you start thinking like that, you'll find out that prioritizing things is quite easy. And I know it's really easy to sit there and just say, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow, or, you know, I want to do this today. And it's fine to take breaks and do your own thing and enjoy yourself, chill out, but make sure you're putting that stuff ahead of everything else when you can. Don't leave it too late, because it can come back and bite you in the bum. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Do drop a like, comment, leave any suggestions for commentaries next week that you want me to do, and I'll see you later. Peace out.